welcome back to Social7Skills. I want you to think for a moment about the most complex and powerful device you use every single day. No, it's not your phone, and it's not your computer. It's your own mind. Now, every complex device has an operating system that runs quietly in the background, managing all of its functions. Your mind has an operating system too. It governs every interaction, every decision, and every relationship you build. Your operating system is called your emotional and social intelligence. Unfortunately, this operating system does not come with an owner's manual. We just try to make it work. But what if you could not only understand your operating system, what if you could upgrade it? So, what is the problem with our understanding of emotional and social intelligence? The problem is a fundamental misunderstanding of what drives our behavior at work and in other relationships. We often operate under the assumption that the workplace is, or at least should be, a purely logical and transactional environment. But that ignores one of the most powerful forces in human interaction: emotion. The reality is that our emotions and the emotions of everyone around us are often the true drivers behind motivation, engagement, and collaboration, or the lack of it. When we ignore the element of emotion in our operating system, we end up with all kinds of error messages, misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts, and teams that just don't click. We see colleagues react in ways we don't understand because we don't stop to realize that people's insecurities, their personal problems, and other unresolved problems subconsciously affect people's behavior. Let's take a brief look at the neuroscience of what's going on in these types of situations. Inside our brains, there are two parts constantly working together. First, you have the neocortex. This is your thinking brain. It's your cognitive center, the home of logic, reason, and all of your technical skills. But you also have the amygdala. This is your feeling brain or emotional center. Its primary job is to detect threats and to keep you safe. And your amygdala is incredibly fast. It responds 100 times faster than your neocortex. The problem is, your amygdala can be triggered by both real threats and perceived threats. Let's watch a short video that illustrates what happens in our brain when the amygdala gets triggered.
Inside your brain, there's a constant partnership at work. You have your logical thinker, the part that solves problems, and your emotional guard, the part that scans for danger. When they're in balance, you feel calm and in control. Your thinker is the neocortex, the logical center that handles complex thought. Your guard is the amygdala, the emotional center that keeps you safe from threats. The guard's main job is to react, and it reacts incredibly fast. Normally, these two parts of your brain are in balance, but the guard can be triggered by both real and perceived threats. It could be a sharp comment from a colleague, a difficult conversation, or even a simple email that makes your stomach drop. This is the quote emotional hijack. The guard, responding 100 times faster than the thinker, takes control. Instead of seeing multiple solutions, we start to see the world in black and white, right or wrong, win or lose. When this happens, our ability to use reason and logic can drop by as much as 75%. Once you've been emotionally hijacked, it's not an instant recovery. It can take nearly 20 minutes for your body and brain to fully calm down. Understanding the emotional hijack is the first step. The next step is learning to manage it. By developing your self-awareness, you can keep your thinker in the driver's seat. And that is a core part of building your social skills.
I hope that helps you better understand what is going on when we get emotionally triggered. But this, of course, raises a huge question. If my emotional center can hijack my cognitive center, then what hope do I have to remain in control of myself and my situations? Fortunately, there is an answer to this important question. The answer is developing our emotional and social intelligence. Let's start by defining our terms. Emotional intelligence, sometimes referred to as EQ, is an individual's ability to recognize, understand, and manage their own emotions. Social intelligence is a closely related concept. It can be simply defined as an individual's awareness of their interactions with others. Together, these two form the skills that help you manage stress, communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and build stronger relationships. Many people still dismiss emotional intelligence as some kind of touchy-feely soft skill, but a mountain of evidence proves the exact opposite. According to research by psychologist Daniel Goleman, high emotional intelligence is a stronger predictor of success than IQ or technical skills. His research found that emotional intelligence accounts for nearly 90% of what moves people up the ladder when IQ and technical skills are roughly the same. And a recent Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum found that emotional intelligence skills like self-awareness, motivation, and empathy are now ranked among the top 10 most coveted competencies by employers. Business leaders have realized that while it's relatively easy to find technical expertise, it's the ability for people to understand and get along with one another that truly carries a project to success. Emotional and social intelligence is not just about being nice. It's about being more effective and productive. High emotional intelligence is a valuable professional asset and one of the most important indicators of workplace performance. The promise of this module is that by developing your emotional and social intelligence, you can learn to manage your emotional hijacks. By understanding your human operating system, you can debug your interactions and run your career and your relationships more smoothly and effectively. This has a direct impact on business performance. When the French pharmaceutical company Sanofi focused on the emotional intelligence of its sales force, it boosted annual performance by 12%. After Motorola provided this training at a manufacturing plant, the productivity of more than 90% of those trained went up. This isn't just about feeling better, it's about performing better. These companies prove that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill. It is a driver of hard-won success. So, how do we upgrade our operating system and prevent these emotional hijacks? In this module, we will install 4 critical software updates. These are the core components of emotional and social intelligence. The first update is self-awareness. This is where you learn to understand your own code. This is the bedrock of high emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, motivations, and triggers. Self-awareness enables you to recognize how you react in different situations. Without a clear picture of your own internal programming, it's nearly impossible to manage yourself or to understand others. The second update is self-management, also known as self-regulation. This is debugging your reactions. Once you have self-awareness, the next step is managing your internal state. This involves using your self-awareness to control your emotions, thoughts, and behavior. In this way, you can choose a productive response instead of letting the emotional hijack take over. Self-management is all about remaining in emotional control of yourself. It's the ability to pause before you react and choose a more productive response. The third update is social awareness. This is where we turn our focus outward and learn to read other people's systems. Social awareness is the ability to recognize social signals, body language, and the unspoken emotional currents in interpersonal communication. Socially intelligent people are skilled at observing nonverbal cues and understanding that behavior is often influenced by factors beyond the immediate situation. And the fourth update is empathy and relationship management. This is all about networking the systems together. It's about using your awareness, both self-awareness and social awareness, to successfully manage relationships, build trust, and communicate effectively. Relationship management is built on cultivating empathy, building healthy relationships, and effective conflict resolution. All of these are essential human relation skills that help create a positive and collaborative work environment. To see how these skills work in the real world, we're going to introduce a case study that we will follow throughout this entire module. Let's meet Maria. Maria is a highly intelligent and efficient project manager at a growing tech company. She's known for her technical skills and her ability to get projects done on time. But recently, her projects have started hitting delays, and team morale is low. She thinks she's just being direct and focused, but her team feels she's dismissive and does not listen to their input. Maria is about to discover a bug in her own operating system that's causing these crashes. As we go through each of the 4 upgrades in this module, we'll revisit Maria's story to see how she learns to apply these skills to become a more effective and respected leader. To get started on your own journey, I want you to reflect on this question. Which parts of your operating system do you feel could use an upgrade, and why? Thank you for watching. In our next lesson, we will dive into our first upgrade, self-awareness. Thanks for joining me as we take a few minutes to consider some of the spiritual implications of emotional and social intelligence. Wow, what a deep and rich topic. As I mentioned in the lesson, this forms the foundation, the bedrock on which all the other social skills are built. One reason for this is because emotional and social intelligence is where we discover and develop true concern for other people. Without this foundation, all the other skills become mere tools to enable us to use other people and to get ahead in our careers. But with the solid foundation of emotional and social intelligence, we learn how to use the other social skills to develop and nurture true and meaningful relationships. There are 3 words that I believe get to the heart of understanding emotional and social intelligence. The first word is empathy. I won't talk about this word much at this point because empathy is one of the subtopics that we will be discussing in detail in a later lesson. But in very simple terms, empathy is simply putting yourself in another person's shoes in order to truly understand that person. The next word that I believe is at the heart of emotional and social intelligence is the word love. There is a story in the Bible about a young man who came to Jesus. He was very worried about his life and his destiny. He asked Jesus how he should live his life. Jesus told him there were 2 things that he must do. First, he must love God with all of his heart, soul, mind, and strength. Then Jesus told him that he must love others in the same way that he loved himself. We can only give what we have. We can only love others if we first have love for ourselves. This is why understanding emotional and social intelligence starts with self-awareness. We have to understand and accept ourselves before we can begin to understand and accept others. The third word that comes to my mind when I think about emotional and social intelligence is compassion. This is a powerful word. It literally means to share in the sufferings of others. Compassion means to understand and care about another person so deeply that you feel their pain when they are suffering, and you feel their joy when they are rejoicing. When these three words are taken together, empathy, love, and compassion, I believe we get to the heart of understanding emotional and social intelligence in a way that will truly change how we view ourselves and how we view and treat other people. This concept is profound, and it has the potential to change our lives for the better. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you are as excited as I am to continue our study of emotional and social intelligence. I'll see you at our next lesson. God bless you.